Hello everybody, today we're doing a video for GTA Car Kits in a 2015 Lexus GS, and today we're going to show you how to install our Apple CarPlay and Android Auto kit. It's been paired to iPhone wirelessly. You can also pair it to your Android phone wirelessly. The system gets controlled with the original controls here. You have this little red dot showing you where you can click. Our kit is able to work through original AUX or Bluetooth. It uses original microphone. You're still able to view the original rear view camera when you put the car into reverse. You're able to do Siri or Google Assistant right from the steering wheel. So you will not lose any functionality from the original system, but you get an extra feature that you didn't have before. And now we're going to show you how to install it in this car. So the tools you're going to need is a 10mm socket with an extension, and over here we're using some electrical tape because the bolts that we're going to be unscrewing, they're quite deep, and this way it's like a trick so they don't fall behind the dash. We have our panel removal tool, and we have our Phillips screwdriver. You got to get one that is short like this, and of course you're going to need our product. With using our panel removal tool, we're going to remove these two things. So we're going to remove this entire controller assembly, and then we're going to remove this side piece. So this side piece, you can just use your fingers and pull it towards yourself, and it will unclip. Now we're going to use this tool again, and over here now you have some extra space to get underneath to pop out this entire assembly. And we're doing that because we're going to be connecting right here at the front of it. Now we need to remove this trim piece around the head unit. So we're going to open up our glove box, and again, using the panel removal tool, we're going to get underneath here in order to pop it out. It's just held on clips, so once you get a little bit of space here, you can use your fingers, and as you can see, it's only held on clips, and this connection, you can just press the clip and disconnect. Underneath the head unit, we need to remove two bolts. So there's one on the passenger side and one on the driver's side. And now we're using our 10mm socket with an extension. Next, we're going to remove this trim around the screen, and we're going to use our small Phillips screwdriver because we need to remove these three small plastic bolts with the clips. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and you have to be very gentle when you're undoing them, and make sure not to push them up, otherwise they just go back in its place. So once the screw is loose, you can just grab it, and it's going to come out together with the clip. So you need to remove all three of them. With the plastic removal tool, you're going to unclip it on the top and tilt it forward, and it will come out. So we need to remove 4 bolts, so 2 on each side, as you can see, 2 over there and 2 on the driver's side. Again, our 10mm socket with an extension. And this is why we're using the electrical tape, so we can just pull the bolt out and it doesn't drop behind the dash over there. So now we're going to show you what comes in our kit and everything we're going to be installing today. So you have your main harness that gets connected to the back of the stereo and into our module. You have your main module here. We have our video cables that get connected at the back of the screen. We have our USB cable that we're going to run into the passenger footwell compartment. There's another harness for the controller here in the middle, and we have our wireless antenna. We'll first remove the stereo and start doing our connections at the back of the stereo. So with the bolts removed, you can just pull it towards yourself. It's still held on some clips, so be mindful of that. So we're going to be connecting to 2 connections here at the back. This is going to be this one right here. That's for audio. And then this is the main harness. This is where our harness will get plugged into. So we'll disconnect both. First, we'll disconnect this one by pressing the clip and just removing it. And then this one has a clip on the side that we're going to use our panel removal tool to get to. Just press on the clip and you're going to unlock this harness. So this is our harness where our main connection is for the main harness. So the female one, we're going to put the original one in here, and then the male will plug in to the back of the head unit. And then the audio connection, similar. You're going to grab the original one and plug it into our harness. And then our harness will get plugged in instead of the original one. So this is the other end of the main harness, and we're already going to connect it to our module. And then over here on this main harness, you're going to have this connection that we need to link up this controller by a harness to here. So now we're going to lift up this, which we showed you how to remove earlier, and this connection here at the front, we're going to disconnect. And you're going to find this small harness in our kit's wiring. So it also has a male and female, just like the other connections that we showed you earlier. Looks very similar. So you'll plug it into our harness, and then our harness will get plugged in to this unit. You end up having this wire, which we need to connect into the main harness behind the stereo. But so this is the small wire that we need to feed behind the dash and behind the head unit, and we're gonna do it this way. So we're gonna take this wire. As you remember, we removed the side panel before, and we're just gonna feed it to the side here. I have it here come out on the side. You're gonna pull it all the way through, and then now you can grab the wire, and there's an opening so you can get it behind the head unit. And once it's here, we're just gonna connect it to this connection of our main harness. There you go. And at this point, you can neatly tuck this wire here and just put this assembly back and clip it back in its place. So first you need to insert the front, and then you just push it down. Now we're gonna do the two video cables at the back of the screen. So we already unscrewed the screen, so we're just gonna tilt it forward and bring it out here. And we're gonna be connecting to this blue connection here. So you're gonna just unplug the original one, press the clip and unplug it. And these are the video cables from our kit. So you have the two blue ends, and then you have a blue and the burgundy on the other ends. So these ones will get plugged into our module, and these ones will be at the back of the screen. So there's a male and a female. So the male will go instead of the original one, and the original one will plug in into our harness. So these two ends of the wires, we also have to get behind the head unit, and we're gonna feed them through. There's an opening right here towards the passenger side, where you can just simply drop these cables down, and we're gonna catch these cables over here. Here's one, here's the other one, and we're gonna carefully pull them through all the way. And at this point, you can put the screen back. We're not gonna screw it in yet, but we're gonna put it into its original position. Now we will connect these cables into our module, so you just gotta color match them. Now we need to route the USB cable. So this end is used to connect your device by the wire, like Apple or Android device, and it's also used for updates. And this end will connect to our module. So this one we have to keep behind the head unit. And this end, we find that a very good spot for it would be to route it through here and just have it below here in the passenger footwell compartment. So we'll take this wire, and like we've done before already, we'll just feed it through and have it come out here. And the USB end of this harness, we're just gonna plug into our module. The last thing would be our wireless antenna. So you're gonna plug it into the module, and then you're gonna hide it somewhere behind the dash. You can remove the tape and stick it to a flat surface. Just make sure not to stick it to the actual module. And there's a little flat surface here where we're gonna stick it into. So we connected everything to our module. Now we can start hiding it. Over here, just mind these dip switches. So for Lexus GS, switch number 2 has to be on. And when you're hiding the module, make sure not to trip it by accident and change the settings. So over here is a very good spot to hide the module, because our module is quite small and compact. So you can just slide right down there, and it will not be in the way of any of the wiring harness when you're putting everything back. So make sure you take your time when you're hiding it. You can cable tie all the wires so they look more nice and neat. And at this point, we can start putting the head unit back. So make sure you rearrange your wires nicely and carefully slide it in. And when you're sliding it in, make sure that there's no other wires that are sticking out on the sides. So before screwing everything back in, we're going to test the entire system. And in order to test, we need to connect our start button back. So now with the ignition on, you're going to make sure that the original Lexus all loads up. And over here, you're going to set the car either to AUX or Bluetooth. Our kit can play sound through both. And I pressed and held the menu button here. And now you have this extra mode, which you didn't have before. Instead of the original navigation, you can still switch back to the original navigation. I'm going to pair my phone wirelessly to the system. You can also pair, this is an iPhone. You can pair an Android also. So to pair, you're going to find a device that starts with the car followed by a number. You're just going to press on it. It's going to say the code. You're going to pair and you're going to allow and connect for CarPlay. And as you can see, CarPlay is now on the screen. So you're going to test the music here to make sure that plays over the speakers. You're going to navigate here, make sure that everything works. And as you can see, everything works here. And at this point, we can reassemble the car back. So we're going to start reassembling everything back, and we'll begin with our screen. So just put the original 4 bolts back. Now we can reinstall the cover. So you start with the bottom. Make sure it clips in both top and bottom. And now these 3 plastic clips with the screws. So you have to get the screws out almost all the way out. Put them in. Once the clip is in, you don't need to use the screwdriver anymore. You can just push the actual small screw in and it goes all the way in. Now we can do the 2 bottom bolts at the bottom of the head unit. You can now reinstall this trim piece. The last piece is the side panel, and remember our USB cable is just gonna hang underneath here under this panel. So you're just gonna line it up. When you're putting this one back, make sure you put this edge in first, and then you can just push it in to clip it back in. So the installation has been completed. Now we have CarPlay on our screen. You can also do Android Auto. Again, this was a video for GTA Car Kits. I hope you liked it, and we'll see you next time.